even, where were we, 12 months, 13 months into his tenure, still tinkering with things, trying to figure out who was going to fit where, and developing a chemistry. How was Dele Alli going to play into this? Now he started, I think, 7 games in a row. Was it going to be Mason and Bentaleb? Was it going to be Dyer and Bentaleb? Was it going to be Dembele in the back? Now he's playing in the number 10 role. I think he finally has this 11, how he wants this 11, and when you can bring people like a Son and a Chadley and a Mason and a Bentaleb off the bench to do exactly what you need the team to do, whether it's park the bus a little bit and hold on to a 1-goal lead, or go after a goal, take off a midfielder, put in a 4th attacker or a 5th attacker, he has that flexibility now. But I think his starting 11, the ones that we see going out there every week, the Davis-Rose thing is kind of a fun little battle that's still going on. I think they both bring qualities. If you play a top-end team, I almost prefer Davis because he's a better defender. But if you're playing a team that's going to allow you to bomb up the wing, you got to play Rose because he can attack and he can score.
And let's face it, again, it was a gamble playing him against Arsenal because he did manage to get upfield and he had the assist on Kane's goal. Mm-hmm. Anyway, I think we need to switch gears, fellas.
Yep.
You do have a good point, and if you look at the fixtures, we're playing West Ham and Chelsea next in the league sandwich between that dreadful, did you say carrier bag? Is that sponsored by Tesco's?
It is now.
That does throw up a bit of a spanner in the works because we know that Chelsea have a soft underbelly right now. Who knows what's going to happen in their match when we're playing West Ham? I don't even know who they're playing. I'm assuming it's away since they... No, it's probably at home since they lost to Stoke. But... we still have that horrible conundrum of traveling. Was it Kazakhstan? Is that where they are?
Yeah, Karabakh. Yeah. No, Azerbaijan. Azerbaijan.
Turkmenistan.
About the same. It has
out in BSE.
It has a Stan in it. So.
Right, and Stan the man, said Slade. But
that's a good band. I remember Slade.
I was having a conversation about Slade the other day. Anyway, I digress. But we have a 6 a.m., 12 o'clock GMT kickoff on Sunday. How ridiculous is that? Yeah. And I think we've touched on this, and it doesn't matter if it's Chelsea or anyone else. It's just a tough draw. Anyway, but to your point, Ken, right after that, guess what? After 2 tough London derbies, we're away to West Brom. Yeah. And that's where we've got to keep it tight. And that's where... God forbid we don't get the result we want with Chelsea, whether it's a draw or, God forbid, a home defeat. We've then got to pick ourselves up and go to a tough place like the Hawthorns, who West Brom have not done a lot this season, but they've hung in there. They hung in there against United. I watched that game. And
they really did. It was 0-0 at the half. Yeah.
Right. And, Tony Pulis, he knows how to set up his team to play defensively. So you're right. But anyway, enough of that nonsense. We shouldn't neglect the Anderlecht game before we preview West Ham.
True.
I didn't watch it. I just saw the score, and obviously we lucked out by getting the win with the late goal. But talk about that, fellas.
I thought we played really well, to be quite honest, especially going into the North London derby. We already knew that Arsenal had been turned over. And we all kind of had a good chuckle at that. But it was like, okay, now what do we go do to try to not have the same exact thing happen to us? A, and B, fall further behind in that group. That group is so tight. Everybody's almost got the same exact amount of points going into that thing. Or especially with Monaco and Karabakh having drawn their match, we had known that as things were happening, we scored and we went up. Kane's goal in the 29th minute. And then Ezekiel got the late goal with about 20 minutes remaining, and they were showing the table live. We went from first to third in the group, and for us to be able to do what we want to do in Europa League, and apparently Pochettino has made it very clear, especially according to Brad Friedel and some of the guys that were calling the game on Fox, that he is all about winning this competition. This isn't just something that they go and do. He is out there to win this. And they were not looking ahead. He was going to be doing everything that he could from a statistical and strategic standpoint as he subbed players in and out to try to win that match. And when Dembele got the goal with 3 minutes left in regulation time, we went up 2-1 and we were going to win that match. You know, there was no capitulating after that. And I thought the team played very well. Albeit it was at home, and thank God for that, because the last thing you wanted to have to do was, you know, travel to Belgium, you know, for a match right before the North London Derby. And, you know, from the standpoint of how did we look going into a European match, you know, playing at night like we do, I thought we looked okay. Anderlecht is no pushover, and I thought we did well to win that game.
Yeah, I would agree.
Well, and the interesting thing is we are now back top of the table.
Correct.
And ironically, as good as we are in the league with our defence, we've given up 5 goals in 4 games in our campaign so far. You know,
got to remember too, though, that's, you know, Trippier playing on the right. You know, generally we mix and match the defensive midfield, and those guys are not as keen with each other. I think the chemistry right now with the starting 11 in the league is way better than what, you know, the hodgepodge, you know, not to put anybody down, but the hodgepodge lineup that we throw out there.
Yeah. So we have a point lead on Monaco. We're unbeaten, but they have 3 draws.
Yeah.
So let's say we go to Karabag, and not an easy place. They've lost 2, 1-1, drawn 1. Let's say we don't play the strongest team because we've got an eye on Chelsea. We come away with the draw. Monaco beat Anderlecht. We're on 8. They're on 9. Monaco has to be, the final group stage game has to be a win for us to finish first in the group. So I think that's probably how it's going to pan out. We're going to go to Karabakh, look for the draw, come home to beat Monaco, regardless of the result.
Yeah.
Let's say they get a draw as well, then, you know, all we needed is draw at home to Monaco and we topped the table, and Bob's your uncle. So we're still in a great position. Obviously, we would have liked to have not lost in Belgium. Even a draw there would have put us in a more commanding position, but and you could say the same with Monaco. We led in that game too, so we got to make sure we kill off games.
Yeah.
And I think goes back to what we said about Arsenal. We've got to score more than 1 goal because we know that lets us down in some of these games, and you know that's probably the byproduct of a youthful team is making sure they keep that concentration for 90 minutes. So.
You got to remember too that, you know, Champions League is playing itself out too, and Arsenal did get 1 win against why is their name escaping me? Bayern Munich, before they capitulated and got destroyed by Bayern Munich. But they are putting themselves in a position to where they finish 3rd. Listen, there's 2 games left, and those 3rd place teams parachute into the Europa League.
Are they 3rd or are they 4th? I
thought they were last.
And I really don't care.
They may still be last, but all they
yeah.
have to do is actually play decent and end up 3rd. I don't think they're going to get in the top 2 in their group. I just don't.
No, they've only had 1 win in the group. It was their home win against.
You know Murphy's Law says they'll drop out the group and end up with us.
That's exactly where I'm going with this. We could end up playing them 4, if not 5 times.
Yeah, we'll get them in the FA Cup as well.
They're 3rd. They're 3rd, but they're even on points with Dinamo Zagreb.
Exactly.
They just have a -4 goal differential, and Zagreb has -6. So,
and I think the Zagreb match is at the Emirates. If memory serves.
They're not going to lose that. They'll go into Europa. I mean,
we'll see what happens. I think it's going to be interesting.
Great, hope so.
International break this week. Spain and England on Friday, France and England on Tuesday. England has 2 really good matches to watch this week, if you ask me.
Well, and about time, because they had nobody of any contest in their qualifying group.
Yeah.
Let's face it. So
this will be a true test.
By the way, humble brag, I'm going to be spending 2 weeks. I'm pretty sure I'm going to do this in London during the European Championships.
Oh, piss off.
I can't wait to sit in a pub while matches are going on. The sunshine.
You could go to the Londoner. You could go to the Londoner and Addison experience.
I know.
Same exact
it's
thing.
full of expats.
I thought about that, but yeah.
Meanwhile, on this side of the
I thought
pond.
you were going to say you were going to go to France at least.
No, I did.
Yeah, that would have been great.
I honestly did think about that, but then I realized I had to be around a bunch of French people.
Take the Eurostar.
This is true. Who wants to be around the French
Sam
people?
Zerwell
at
ZTranch on Twitter. If you'd like to voice all of your opinions and direct them directly to him.
I'm just joshing. I love
He loves the surrender monkeys.
No.
Meanwhile, U.S. men's national
much
team.
more enjoyable to be in England during that time.
Men's national team plays
an hour.
St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
Where's
Well, they're playing some pomegranate cordial.
I was like, this sounds like a 60s pop group or something.
So next up for us, West Ham at the Lane, even on points. We've got I think maybe 3 goal difference. This is a massive match. Thank God they don't have Dimitri Payet. That'll help us, you'd think.
I'm sure Andy Carroll's probably injured, right?
He took a little bit of a knock.
I said that tongue-in-cheek because he's nearly always injured.
You know what? He did take a little bit of a knock the other day. Him and Payet both. And
Payet's out for 3 months. So
man, someone else got a little nicked for them too. But that's going to be a great match.
Was it Lanzetti? Lanzetti?
No,
he scored a lovely goal.
No, he's on fire.
Yeah, scored a
but so was Lukaku's. I mean,
it was
a striker's goal. Getting onto the forward pass and rounding the keeper. That was a nice goal.
Yep. All right.
Here's an interesting thing. So, obviously, as part of Dallas Spurs, Dallas Hammers reached out to us. Yes, there is actually a supporters group.
All 3 of them?
Yeah. Well, they hang out in the colony, so that might tell you something. Apologies to anyone who lives in the colony. They go to, like, I don't know, Stan's Tap House, and maybe they show up with 5 people, but they have been to other supporters groups watching events this season, and were very cordial to write on our wall if we wouldn't mind if they turned up on the 22nd. I said, absolutely, banter is banter, and it's just make sure it's just that, because you wouldn't get that from Arsenal and Chelsea. And let's face it, Chelsea last year, they said, where are you going to be? Because we're going to be there. Because you know what a bunch of arseholes those lot are.
So where are they at this year? No one's showing up this year.
Yeah, exactly. So I said, absolutely.
They're all showing up at the City Pub.
We'll be at Trinity Hall.
Yep.
And I said, you're more than welcome. It's just, just keep it to banter, lads. And, of course, I kicked off the banter by saying, make sure you check with Marius at Trinity Hall and make sure there's enough parking for all your caravans.
Hey, speaking of which, and I like to try and call things as we see it and not try and be biased, but fair play to the Gooners that were in the pub, caused no problems, actually brought canned food for our food drive. There's a way about going about doing your business to those pricks that we dealt with last year at the League Cup final. I mean, that's the way that you go about doing it.
And
by the West Ham guys.
There was absolutely no singing for them. They did. There wasn't a peep out there. The only peep.
Well, it was just like Emirates. They wanted to feel just like it was at Emirates.
So yeah, that was good. But I think you bring up a good point, and I want to kind of brag on everyone who is a Dallas Spurs member. We did a food drive for our community. I'm going to butcher their name, but there's a local charity that a couple of our members work with in a volunteer basis. For our European listeners, we're approaching Thanksgiving. It's a tough time for a lot of people and not being able to provide a normal Thanksgiving feast that the luckier people can afford on that last Thursday in November. And so big shout out to Shane and his significant other, Dina, who asked us to kind of dip into our pockets and donate some food. And I'm telling you, over the last 3 matches,
it's been
I know I was only present at 2 of them, and unfortunately we haven't got photos on our public page, but on our closed page. The amount of food that was donated was phenomenal, and people still want to chime in and donate cash through PayPal to support this. And I cannot be prouder of belonging to an organization that has provided so much for those who have so little, so that hopefully they can enjoy a nice meal on Thanksgiving Day in a week and a half, couple of weeks.
Very cool.
So that was pretty awesome. And you're right. there were a couple of gooners who were friends with some of our members who also brought in food, so you can't fault that. And I would hope we would do the same thing if they were doing that. And
absolutely.
We were in their position, so...
and what played you caused no trouble at all?
You know, I was pretty good.
You were really good. I kind of told my wife, I said,
good.
I might be calling you from jail.